Hey, welcome, Daniel from
Hey,
Trademe.
how are you
Now,
doing?
I want to say a huge thanks to Trademe, guys, because not going to lie, I only managed to snaffle them and grab them and bring them in and convince them to come in just last week, late last week, wasn't it, Daniel?
It was, but we're really happy to be here. Could you add
Casey,
Casey as well? She should be online already.
just making sure I'm promoting the right Casey.
Casey Wild.
There might be a couple, on here, making sure. But once we get this going and you're both, hello.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good, good, good. So, welcome to you guys. Now, I have to start this off by saying, A, you have a stellar presentation that is about to come up. But B, when you look across the ditch to Australia and what they're doing, when I watched Daniel last week present some of the figures and numbers for what you guys are managing to achieve is phenomenal, even by our standards, and we have a fraction of your market. So I will shush, put myself off camera, and I will leave the experts to deliver a sensational session to all the agents who are listening.
Thanks so much. Hey everybody, no pressure based on the last speaker. Looks like a really, really good presentation, but hopefully we can give you some really good insights today. So I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully we can all see that okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so hi everyone. My name's Casey. I'm the Industry Insights, Industry Success Manager here at Trademe Property. I have been with Trademe for about 4 years. I am actually at ex-real estate, so short-lived real estate career, but I was in it nonetheless. So I understand what you go through on your day-to-day. I'm also joined here by one of our account managers, Daniel, who will speak to you a little bit later in the session as well. So today is about giving you some top tips to get you maximizing your online presence with the main goal, which is what we all want, and that is more leads and more appraisals. And that all stems from having a trusted personal brand. So the first half of this morning, we're just going to talk around setting the scene. So this is our updated State of the Nation survey. Then we'll talk you through why you need to be online and how to have a strong digital presence. And then I'll finish with some tools in order to get you guys to give it a go. And then we'll hand over to Daniel to talk you through our Trademe Property listing best practice. So at Trademe, we do like to keep a finger on the pulse and make sure that we are aligned to the sentiment of buyers and sellers in the market. As we all know, market conditions change at a rapid rate, and the best agents stay ahead of those market conditions to provide the right advice. In the past few weeks, we released our State of the Nation survey, where we surveyed 2,500 active buyers watch listing homes and around 3,600 registered homeowners to see how they felt about the current market. The great news is that equally from our buyers and our homeowners, we're starting to see a lot more positivity coming through, particularly around those who are wanting to buy and sell during the next year. So the competition is starting to heat up, which I'm sure you're really excited about. Despite the market still showing some signs of things increasing, from our survey, we found that almost 49% said they believe that it's a competitive market among other buyers. And this has actually increased from what we saw when we ran the survey last quarter by around 5%. So we're starting to see that increase every couple of months. With the recent OCR decreases and subsequent mortgage rate reductions, we do expect this to continue as an upward trend. We know that buyers with intent are also potential vendors. So with this competition heating up, we do want to make sure that your personal brand is keeping you front and center to attract all of these potential appraisal requests that you should have coming onto the market. So relocating remains the biggest reason for buyers searching for property in 2025. Since COVID, the ability to work from home, as you know, has increased substantially. So buyers are able to live further away from their office or even in a different city. This is where your digital footprint will be key in order to target potential buyers who may not be currently living in your area. When we looked at what advice homeowners wanted from their agents, so we asked them what they were looking for both before selling and also reflecting on selling once they'd gone through that selling process. And this is some of the feedback that we had come back. So the first one was around marketing and advertising strategy. This came through both before and after. So it's just something to think about, I guess, in terms of what you're pitching with your marketing strategy. Making sure you've got a really tailored approach is going to be really key here. Obviously, vendors are coming to you to help you, to get you to list their property. They don't know how to sell it. Some of them try and give it a go, but if they did know how to, then they'd be trying to do it themselves. So coming in really confident, making sure you've got a really tailored package there is going to be key to get them to list with you. The second thing that came in before selling was around access to buyer network. So if you do have some interested buyers that may be interested in their property, make sure you really talk to that on the couch. It's like, hey, look, we've got a couple of buyers that looked at similar properties, so I'll make sure we get them through the door. So really lean on that. And the third thing was around property valuation. So making sure that you've got lots and lots of different properties in your CMAs to compare to, making sure you've got those anchor points to make sure they really believe that property valuation. So try and bring in some third-party data there. Your local account manager will be able to help you this if you're wanting to get some of that information from Trademe as well. And then I guess just thinking about what you're doing in terms of building trust in these areas, both in person and in your online presence. And we'll go through a little bit of that shortly. The majority of vendors thought they were going to get 2 appraisals in before selling in New Zealand, but what they actually got was 1, which is really, really great news for you guys. So I guess when you're thinking of that journey, when they thought they were going to get some appraisals, they originally thought, you know what, I'm going to get 2 agents in. But for whatever happened, when they got that first agent in, they thought, I actually really trust this person and I'm just going to sign that dotted line right now. So this is a really good news story for what we're seeing in New Zealand. But it's something to think about, is making sure that you do everything you can to build your personal brand in the market so that you are that one agent that they choose. Once you're in the room giving that appraisal, there's a high chance that you've already won. So what are you doing to be that one agent when you're sitting on the couch? And then the last stat, only 21% of homeowners planning on selling already know which agent they're going to list with. So think about how you're keeping front of mind with that other 79% who don't know which agent they're going to choose. There's a lot of people out there who just have no idea which agent they're going to use. So making sure you've got a really strong digital presence is what's going to be key. The overwhelming response from our survey is that you are the key. We are seeing increased positivity in homeowners and buyers alike, and the stats are showing us that buyer confidence has been brought forward. Buyers and sellers are looking at property websites and social media, so how you are showing up and meeting this opportunity. So let's get you set up for success today and ensure you're the best positioned to be called into the living room for that appraisal. Let's talk about trust. So trust is the number one difference affecting decision making today, and that's where you guys come in with the power of your personal brand. 50% of people looking to sell this year are seeking 1 to 2 appraisals, as you saw in the previous slide, in comparison to 2 to 3 that we saw in the last couple of years. So trust is the bridge to making sure you are winning that appraisal when you're sitting in front of a potential vendor. But I don't think I need to tell you guys about trust, because I'm sure you're doing this stuff all the time. The question for you is, how do we use digital tools that are at our disposal to catapult that trust before you're sitting on the couch? I think most people have unconscious biases, the stuff that goes on below the surface to confirm or not confirm their buying decisions. If I was going to sell my house, I'd probably use the agent who I brought from. But if you actually probe me a little bit further, yes, I see her on Facebook. Yes, I see her on those other social media platforms. So it's like having 4 consistent streams of contact that confirm my opinion and keep her front of mind. The market, as you know, is a crowded market, and being seen online is a great way to stay relevant with your customers. So on the surface, as you can see up the top of that iceberg there, people are going to cite having used someone before or someone recommending them as the reason for the call. But underneath the surface of that iceberg is some of the stuff that you do every day, and that helps to build those preferences. So these are what I like to call the brand builders, and they are those confidence indicators. They are what sets you up for success in those bigger conversations, and now more and more of this is happening online and in that digital space. So I'm going to ask a question. If you can please just chuck in the chat box what you think. So across a lifetime, how many years will a human spend on their phone? Give you guys a minute. I don't even think I can see the chat box. but that's all right. We'll just trust that you're all answering.
I reckon it's 9. I reckon it's 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we spent way too much
9
time
is
on
correct. We spend about 9 years on our phones total, which is equivalent to around 5 million minutes, which I'm sure you're all very, very shocked by, and it's not ideal. So time spent online and on social are higher than ever. Pretty much everyone in New Zealand is online. And why are they online? Of course, it's to find information. So just another little stat for you. As Kiwis, we spend around 8 hours a day online, which again, a really, really shocking number. About a fifth of that is spent on social media, which is equivalent to around 2 hours. And I would say 2 hours scrolling on social media is pretty much pointless. There is nothing educational on there, guys. But we spend a lot of time doing this, right? We're scrolling our phones, we're looking at Facebook and Instagram. So for you, this brings opportunity. 26% of people looking to sell a house have never had an appraisal before. And if you don't have a recommendation, what's the first thing you normally do? You Google it. So we know people in general search on their mobile phones more than they ever have, and this means that you're accessible in their pocket 24 hours, 7 days a week. Most of the time, people are researching brands before they make a purchase. I know personally, if I'm going to a restaurant, the first thing I do is I Google. I look at the reviews, I look at the menu, I make sure it's somewhere I want to go. You might get an opportunity to do an appraisal by word of mouth, which is great, but what does that potential vendor do immediately when their friend recommends you? They Google you. So just making sure you've got a really strong brand presence is what's going to be key here. So hopefully we all agree that there is a huge opportunity online. Buyers and homeowners are there and they are looking everywhere. They're looking at property websites, looking at social media, and they're there to find information and to get recommendations for who to use. So how are you showing up there and how you meet this opportunity is going to be what's key. So let's get this digital shop front of yours best lit up to try and attract some of these people. We want to pull those people into you and create that feeling of trust before you're even sitting in front of them. So the key areas that we're going to focus on today, the first one is around consistency. So repeat and consistent exposure builds trust. Your face is your competitive advantage. We're going to focus on being authentically you, so humans connect with humans, and we're going to look at being seen. So let's go through the best places for you to be seen online with your personal brand. So I'm going to ask you a theoretical question because I think I should hopefully know the answer. Do you want to make 20% more money? Did you know that having consistent branding across all platforms online has actually shown to increase revenue by up to 20%? A study has been found that companies with consistent brands are worth as much as 20% more than those with inconsistent messaging. Repeat exposure builds trust. And authenticity is key here. So embrace who you are and be consistent. The more consistent you are, the more you will build trust with your audience. Recognition isn't built overnight, so just trust that process, and showing up over and over builds that trust and repetition and results. My encouragement to you is to have a goal to show up every week, once a week, and stick with this. You could share some local market insights or a new listing coming onto market, whatever it is, just make sure you're there. Your skills, relationships, and ideas, these are the real assets. So the more and more you invest in them and share them, the more you will grow and the more they will return you dividends. So as I said, consistency and repetition drive trust. The more and more we see brands' visuals and hear its marketing message, the more we tune into it and we're willing to trust it. Your brand is your reputation in the digital space. If you're consistently out in market, people understand you and what you stand for, and this ultimately puts you ahead of your competition. So there's many great examples of this. One currently is the Heinz ads in the UK market. People know Heinz to the point where they know their brand so well that they can now advertise without their brand name on the signs. So if we look at another example, who would you like to have dinner with and why is it George Clooney? We tend to gravitate toward and trust things we're familiar with. We are biologically wired to be drawn to faces, and we recognize and we instinctively believe a face or voice that we are familiar with. So this could be used within your own marketing material and how you are consistently showing up. Do all of your photos have a similar look and feel? Are the photos you're using consistent? Does it match you in real life? Or are you using photos that are 10 years old? I've run a digital workshop with quite a few real estate brands out there, and let me tell you, the amount of agents that have really old photos that were used half the time when they were even with different brands is just outstanding. So just make sure that you're updating all of these so that you are showing your consistency and up to date. So I'm going to ask another question. Brands that stay consistent are how many more times likely to achieve strong visibility? So I'll give you a second to have a think about it. Is it 0 times, 2 times, or 3 to 4 times? Hopefully you answered 3 to 4 times. So obviously, like I said, consistency is the key thing here. Cool. One thing I've learned about being close to the real estate industry is that you guys are passionate about communities and the places that you work. Community initiatives are a great way to signal and showcase your values. We know humans buy from humans, and anything you can do to showcase this online stands to boost your credibility and connection. You can introduce team members or post about community initiatives you're involved in, and that will connect users to you and ultimately help them to remember you. So just remember, it's all about relationships. Social media isn't just a marketing tool, it's a relationship building platform. Sharing your success stories, insights on recent sales and sold data, or even the day in the life of an agent, this is what brings your clients into your world and allows them to connect with you on a more personal level. So celebrate your authenticity and embrace it. That's what makes you unique. I know when I first started posting content for brands or for myself, I wanted it to be perfect. And I used to agonize over every single word, every picture. It just took me so long. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. But you know what? People want to see you. It doesn't have to be perfect or polished. So don't worry about what you look like on camera or how you sound. People want to know the real you. And if your audience believe that it's the real you, they are more likely to build a connection and trust you. There are so many great examples of agents being authentically themselves and finding their niche. So I'm not looking to sell or buy at the moment, but I do follow this lady, which I want to show you a quick video. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it works. The key is to have fun, and people gravitate towards that. Daniel, can you just give me a thumbs up if this is working for you once it starts playing? Oh. She's quite funny, so highly recommend giving her a follow. But it doesn't have to be like that. It's just about doing something a little bit different and quirky, and that's what's going to stand out. We are hardwired as humans to be wary of strangers, so keeping your face front and center, both online and offline, means that you become recognizable, and this will boost your personal brand position. It leads to people feeling they already know you, and if they think they know you, they're more likely to trust you, resulting in more doors opening, less objections, and of course, faster decision making. Faces are especially powerful in creating trust, since we've evolved to trust people we know and be wary of those we don't. And there are reasons that famous people get get the big bucks when it comes to those advertisers out there. We tend to gravitate toward and trust things that we are familiar with. We see a human who looks and talks the same way that we do, and we feel a level of connection to that person and ultimately that brand. And now with the world of AI, of course, this is becoming more important. So be your unique self. At Trademe, we like to feature our amazing customers and our staff wherever we can. And we found the content with those real people is what performs best. Why? Because it connects us to our audience through our people. You feel more connected to a brand when you see humans like yourself behind it. It's already a really huge impact on our engagement and recall of our content. So humans connect with humans. Consistently showcasing your brand online means you are building your credibility with your potential clients, but we also need to be seen where our customers are online. So let's just take a quick minute to dive into some of those industry trends that we're seeing emerge. The social landscape is forever changing. Here is where we're sitting at the moment. So Instagram is the most used platform currently. 84% of social users have an Instagram profile, and it's most popular with our Gen Zs and our millennials. Half of all users also interact with brands there at least once per day. Facebook is still a huge mainstay, especially in New Zealand. So around 83% of our social users have a Facebook profile, and it's been used by mostly your Gen Xers, followed by your boomers and your millennials. So I'd say that's pretty bulk of the real estate market in New Zealand. But it is great to have both channels to be hitting all of those demographics. Our Gen Zs especially are on TikTok more with their social media. It is a search engine, but it's also a news source, a birthplace of culture, and an online shopping mall. So TikTok is the top channel for news and product discovery among Gen Zs, and they are often our first home buyers. So just have a think about that. If you are targeting property for first home buyers, give TikTok a go to talk about that property. These are the type of content formats social users want brands to follow on, focus on in 2025. So short-term video is the biggest thing to drive online engagement today, and there are a number of ways that we can create this. Don't be afraid to make real content. People love hearing from other people. You guys are the thought leaders in real estate. Short, authentic testimonials, customer stories, team member intros, make your brand feel real and relatable. And videos are the perfect format to make them shine. The key thing that we did see here is that 15 seconds or less tends to be the best timing. A world where we are aggressively online has led to shorter attention spans now more than ever. We're now living in a world of bite-sized culture, or what we call snippet culture. So here are a few words from our real estate trainer, Josh Fegan, based over in Australia. Short and sweet. So in short, the length of content matters, and we are pretty much all goldfish. We only have a really short attention span. We scroll past inauthentic content as our brains are trained to scroll past ads. So something to factor in when you're doing these videos. So in summary, repeat and consistent exposure builds brand trust. Your face is your competitive advantage here. Be authentically you. Humans connect with humans. And be seen. There are key places to focus with your personal brand, so leverage these to optimize your content. Your brand is more than your logo, it's your absolute legacy, so make it shine today. The saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is actually scientifically proven. An MIT study indicated that the human brain identifies and reacts to images in as little as 13 milliseconds, and that visuals stick around in a person's long-term memory. But if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000,000, and that's because you tell your story through video. It engages your viewers' visual and audio senses, and it evokes some of those emotions. It puts you in a position of trust with your audience. And when a video is memorable and resonates with your audience, it's often shared with others, and in your case, extends your reach to those additional buyers and sellers. But the great news is that you don't have to be a full-on high-value production. Today more than ever, consumers value that authenticity. So as I mentioned at Trademe, our goal is to make people pause, think, or laugh, and we try to feature our amazing customers and humans at Trademe Property wherever we can, as we found that drives the most performance in terms of the content. Why? Because it connects us to our audience through our people. We feel more connected to a brand when you can see humans like yourself behind it. When you add video to the mix, you can really build on that connection. One thing I'd like to call out is the best content creators are already on your team, or in this case, it is you. So focus on making yourself and your team those trusted voices. This is a great way to build that brand and all-important trust for your personal brand. So before I hand over to Daniel to go through a quick listing best practice video, I will show you a quick and easy video editing tool that you can practice with for your social media pages. Help of AI, this can be really quick and easy. So I'm going to share a demo video one of the girls in our marketing created for us. It's a short clip using an AI tool called Veed. Please don't worry about memorizing all of this. We will send you out a copy of a handout with what to do and how to practice this type of tool after the session, so you can practice in your own time. So you just do a quick video, upload it. We've got a quick video of Michael Shearhold there, and then this is where you can just go in and edit it, and AI does the editing for you. So you don't have to be a creative whiz. All you've got to do is chuck it in there, choose how many seconds you want that video clip length to be, and it'll take some of that content out for you, which is pretty cool. can add subtitles as well.
Love that you can select Kiwi English just as a FYI.
Yeah, we don't use the American English here, so it's always good to make sure that you're appealing to the right market.
Well done.
So as you can see, it starts to make cuts, and then it will give you a little bit of a summary, so you can download those videos, you can post it onto all of your different social media pages. And then what it does here is it actually gives you a couple of different options. So it uses AI to figure out what the key goal is for your video, and then it'll give you a few different options based on what you're trying to achieve. So it's really intuitive. As you can see, it's really, really simple and easy to use. So highly recommend giving it a go. I promise it's not too hard to use either. So please give it a chance if you have a moment. If you do want to practice, you can use a free version of Veed. Otherwise, there's loads of different other platforms available to do this type of content as well. So if you take one thing from today, please give an AI tool a go. AI is not going to take over from real estate, fingers crossed. But what it should do is actually make your job a little bit easier and take away some of that difficult admin task that you have on the day-to-day. Make you be able to have a bit more time to focus on your sales and speaking to your buyers and vendors. So where from here, with the right tools, you can take longer videos, repurpose them into shorter clips as you saw, and share them across your social media channels all in under an hour. Whether you're posting on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or TikTok, you'll have fresh content that drives engagement and keeps your audience coming back for more. So let's take a look at the ideal video lengths by platform. Instagram is on the shorter side, so about 15 to 30 seconds. If you're doing any Instagram videos, keep it nice and short. Facebook is at around 30 seconds to 3 minutes, so slightly longer there. And YouTube, of course, as people are going to watch videos, that's about 2 to 10 minutes, so a little bit longer. Each platform also has a number of different video options. So if you take Instagram, for example, Reels are key to increase reach, and post to your story and feed also give you the high visibility with your current followers that you've got on your pages. When it comes to Facebook, one big call out here is subtitles, and that's because 85% of Facebook users actually watch videos on mute. I am a millennial. I do not watch videos with sound on. It does my head in. So something to think about. It's not to say you should avoid sound though. A saying I love is that design for sound off, delight with music on. So this means focusing on creating visually compelling content that can stand out on its own, and then you can add music in as a secondary component in order to enhance your videos. So with YouTube, timestamps are also key to break up the content, and playlists help to keep viewers in your ecosystem. So a couple of different approaches depending on what type of platform you're posting on. So last thing from me is please make a commitment or an action plan. Try to film one video a week if you can, and post it at least once a week. Remember, the key to success is that consistency. So just get started, give it a go. Follow us on LinkedIn for our latest insights, which you can then use in your own content. I like to say no idea is a new idea. So don't be afraid to take your inspiration from others on what they're doing, or obviously you can put your own spin on things as well. You don't need to create new content every single day or even every week. In fact, repurposing what you already have will save you on time in the long run. As I mentioned before, being consistent will help you to successfully create an always-on personal brand that builds trust and, of course, attracts leads around the clock. So most importantly, I think last of all for me is just have fun. And I will hand over to Daniel to talk you through our listing best practice.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. Such good insights on just how to build a digital brand online off of Trademe. My name's Daniel. I'm a account manager at Trademe. So I'm going to just go through, I'm just going to cover a couple of Trademe best practices to help you maximize your listings reach for your vendors and also for your own personal brand. So Trademe can be used in many ways for you listing your vendors' properties, but also for you to build your own brand and highlight how you can showcase yourself online. Go to the next slide. Oh, there we go. So I thought I'd just reinstate that why factor. Why is it important to make sure that your listings look really good on Trademe? And here is some stats about how people with a serious intent actually navigate through our site. So we track over 61,000 people who are actively searching the site each week, and they're viewing about 63 properties each per week. That's a very high number of listings to go through, and the average viewer spends about 11.5 minutes on site per listing. And you could probably expect most of your views for that listing to happen within the first 24 hours. This showcases just how many properties people are looking at, how long they're spending online. With 11.5 minutes was fair enough, is a very long time for any website to keep someone engaged. But I like to say, when it's for the biggest purchase of your life, 11.5 minutes is not that long, and you're going to get most of your views within the first 24 hours. That first impression that you make really matters. You can go to the next one. Perfect. So what we're going to cover now is we're just going to look at some of the things you can do to just improve your listing and just optimize everything. So high quality media is crucial. Listings with a video get a massive 26% more views, and professional photography and completing walkthroughs is a great step. But we're also going to look at the right copyright and how to grab people's attentions with headlines and impactful descriptions. And finally, we're also going to ensure that you are listing in the correct category. Brilliant. So the first thing, the most simple, is when you are doing your listing, we want to ensure that you are listing in the correct category. And I'm going to single out some new homes for a second here and just go through some of the stats that we see when it comes to listing a new home and why it's important to make sure it is in the right category. So the correct categorization is fundamental. Listing, for instance, a new home in new homes category will actually generate about 20% more views and a whopping 35% more watch lists within that first week. So always double check that you're putting a residential for sale property into residential for sale. And if it's a house, make sure you're making sure it is a house. And if it's a section, make sure it's a section. And if it's a new home, make sure you are making it an apartment or a townhouse and really categorizing it right. And that'll obviously put that property in front of the right person who's actually looking for it. Your headline is your first impression. So when you set your headline, don't just use the listing address. Use something that highlights its key features. If it's a unique location, some unique selling points, if it has stunning views, a pool, etc. And you could always just browse other listings for some inspiration. And you can see one that I found just a few days, saying that size does matter, and it caught my attention. I'm using it here. We go on the next one. Perfect. I'm going to talk a little about your descriptions and how to use keywords within those. So keywords are an important factor when considering how your listing will actually list within searches. But one thing that's super important is that not a lot of people actually use keywords when searching. However, if you do want to use keywords in your descriptions, contact your local account manager and they can actually give you a tailored report to your location's the keywords that are used most. And this is just a illustration showing that the bigger the word, the more times that keyword is actually searched. So looking at descriptions itself, this is a great way this is an example of a well-written description. Now, being an account manager at Trademe, I look at a lot of listings. So if you think 63 properties per week is a lot, it's probably one day for me. So I've seen some really good descriptions and I've seen some terrible ones too. So notice the compelling headline here. It's quite grabby. And notice that there is all the information in there. So the first point is list all the features, including the bedroom, baths, the parking spots, etc. Make sure that you're grabbing people's attention that are maybe looking for a lifestyle, and add the schools, how many parking there is it close to shopping centers, what's the best cafe nearby. People are really looking for reasons to buy and whether this fits their lifestyle. And this is a great way to actually use keywords too. So try and include keywords if they are relevant for a listing. If the property doesn't have a pool, don't use pool. That's one thing that we also say. And try use bullet points too. That's a great way just to capture, the 3 key selling points of the property is to use bullet points. High quality images are crucial. So start with your best shot, your hero image, then follow by a logical order, using exteriors, interiors, and keep it pretty tidy. So what we don't want to see in images is perhaps something out of place, something that's not symmetrical, or a extension cord lying on the ground, or a phone charging, etc. People really want to use photos to actually envision themselves within the property and within that location too. So if you can include homey icons that are within that property, that would really grab people. And just remember, Trademe property is a visual platform. Make it count. And I think there's a theme here that you've heard from both Casey and I. Engage your buyers through videos. So listings with a video see an average of 26% more views. So consider walkthrough videos, maybe some drone footage of the area, or even a client testimonial. So this is a great way to add your brand into your listing, but also showcase the property. So building trust and a layer of credibility too. And it also guarantees about 26 more views. Which is great. One thing I want to add here too is just some proof. This is the data that we have that shows that videos or listings with videos or inside views, so that virtual open home does drive a lot more traffic. So there's a great reason why around here. The modern audience, they really want to be well informed. So before they pick up the phone, before they send that email or walk through the door at a open home, they want to be very well informed. And I'm sure everyone's seen that when someone goes to a open home, which I've attended a few too. I've watched the videos, I've done the open home virtually, and I know a lot about the property before we actually go. And your audience wants to be well informed, and video content is one way of doing that without having them to read anything, and again, put your face in front of them. The last point is to time it right. So why this matters is we want to, the traffic that we see the highest is between weekdays, between 5 and 9 p.m. So consider listing your properties at the end of the day, not during this period, but at the end of the day, just for logistical reasons with your admins, etc., to ensure that you're capitalizing the peak engagement period on Trademe. And remember, you can also post multiple properties at the same time, and that'll make sure that your brand is one below below each other, so that you are really presenting your brand well. But yeah, what we do advise is try and list at the end of the day, so before 5 p.m., so that during that period you do get maximum exposure. And remember, if your competition is listing at 10 in the morning, by the time it reaches at 5 to 9, their listing has been downgraded already, and your listing will be above during that peak period on a weekly basis. That's all from us, guys. Thank you. If there's any questions, I think we do have a few minutes left.
Yeah, guys, look, if you've got any questions, please pop them into the chat or the Q&A. Like I said, like, I was pretty mesmerized last week. I have been an agent in New Zealand. Currently, I'm across in Australia, and I think that some of the stuff that you guys are doing is just amazing. And some of the audience that you are managing to capture is pretty phenomenal. A couple of things for me is or takeaways, if you will, is video. We all know is huge. We all know that something moving versus something still is going to capture someone's attention. And you guys had a sensational presentation today, I might add. Thank you, Casey. We haven't met yet, but my extended thank you to yourself and Daniel. A couple of those things that I did take away is having those shorter videos. And when I look at watching a video that has captured my attention, if it's longer than about 2-3 minutes long, it goes into the I'll watch it later pile. So you are absolutely 1000% bang on. And then the other key takeaway is everything that you do, like I know it's still 50%, but when you look at crossing the ditch and what's happening over here, that mobile watch is certainly at a very high percentage now, and it's only going to climb. And even as a real estate agent, this sounds ridiculous, but I say if I have to open more than this, I'll put it to I'll do it when I get back to the office. It'll happen later pile. But everyone is on their mobile phone or their pad. It's very seldom that people are on a desktop a lot of the time, because everything's so fast paced. Everything is moving so quickly, and to grab 11 minutes out of your day on your mobile is far more likely than you opening up a laptop, a desktop, and firing that up. So a huge thank you, guys. You're doing some stellar stuff over there, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. I only see you continuing to expand and explode. So well done, and thank you so much for your time and all the value drops for everyone here listening.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it, and hope the rest of the day goes well.
Of course, we're just here having fun, adding value.
Love it. So good.
It can't go wrong if you take the pressure off in that way. Go, hey, we're all just here having fun. We're all just having some value, adding to our businesses. And if every person can get just one takeaway from this today to go and add to their business and actually implement it, because we all go to so many of these events, and let's be super honest with ourselves and say, we take a lot of notes, we even record, I see people taking photos. How often do they implement just one thing?
Absolutely.
Not that often, if we're getting real. If we're being super honest. Yeah, so thank you so much, Trademe. Amazing.
Emily.
Amazing.
Thanks, guys. See you later.